Hello everyone. Welcome back to the webinar showing you how to buy your first rental property in 7 steps and only cost you 5% down. Welcome everyone to the webinar here. This is happening every single month live so that you can answer all the questions that you have. And in fact, if you do have any question right now, just put in the comment below and I will make sure that it will be answered to you. Another topic, another live webinar, this is to help home buyers, home investor, whoever interested in investing in real estate, but they don't know where to start. Okay. And this gonna be showing you the 7 simple steps to buy your first investment property with only 5% down. This applicable to all the experience level, from someone who never owned the property before or to someone who already owns some properties. This always helpful to apply this 7 step. With that, let's dive right into the content. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Longley. I am specialized here locally in Chandler, Arizona. I'm also a real estate agent and an investor in the area as well. I specialize in helping new investors, specifically who have less than 10 properties, because you probably those people, you probably have a lot of questions and a lot of unknown, and I'm more than happy to share all the information that I know about real estate investing for you. Um, the high level, the reason why you should invest in. First of all, I want to talk about the reason why you should invest in real estate. As you see here, this is a high level 8 benefits of having a real estate investment property. We're talking about financial freedom. We're talking about diversification of investment for retirement. Most of you gonna have W-2 income and you're gonna have 401k for retirement. But what if the stock market goes down, right? So owning a real estate, owning a rental property can diversify and make sure that you are not putting all the money into one basket. Talking about passive income, right? On a regular basis, if you choose the property right, you're gonna have the monthly cash flow, which is defined as the difference between the income minus the expense. All right, so you can have passive. Those are considered passive income because you don't have to do anything, and it's just going to your bank account, right? Additionally, real estate, as you know, at the long run, always have an increase in value. That's why we call the fourth benefit is equity growth. Okay, you at the long run you're gonna have an increase in value. For example, if you are familiar with during the COVID time, right, 20 or 22% increase in appreciation during those 2 years. Even now, without anything, without doing anything, you have on regular basic about 5 to 8% appreciation every year. Tax advantage, right? We can deduct some of your W-2 income tax, assets appreciation, control. You have the control over the investment. In contradictory with stock, right? You don't have any control. You put the money in and basically it, right? But for real estate investing, real estate properties, you do have a control over that property. You have the power to increase the rent. You have the power to reduce the expense, right? So those are the control that you can have. Retirement planning, okay? We're talking about the diversification so that you can retire in a better life. With that, that is the high level reason. This is not the scope of this video to discuss the detail of each benefit to own a rental property. If you have the question about those, feel free to contact me and I'm more than happy to discuss with you about that. But the key information is this today. All right. The 7 baby steps to buy your first investment property with only 5% down. Number 1, save 1,000. Number 2, pay off bad debt. Number 3, save 5% down. Number 4, buy a primary home. Number 5, share a room. Number 6, refinance. Number 7, buy the second house and rent the first house. That's it. We conclude the webinar today. Oh, I'm just kidding. So those are the high level, the baby steps that we can actually do. But some of you may ask, Long, why are you saving 1,000? What about the bad debt? What is bad debt, right? Why do I have to share a room in step number 5? Why do we have to refinance? And that's the purpose of today's webinar, to explain to you each individual step. Now let's dive right into the webinar, okay? Step number 1, save $1,000. All right. So some of you may ask why. What the purpose of that $1,000 for? Okay. So this one is one of the most crucial step in the entire process, in my opinion. Because here's the thing. Remember, the audience that I want to focus on is the new investor, right? Someone who may not even have any property before, or someone who has less than top 10 properties, like under their name, right? So for those people, the financial, they tend to not have any financial obligation before. Okay, they may be a renter, they may be a student, they may be living with the parents, right? They never own a big property. And remember, we are right now on step 1 of getting the very first property, very big asset of your life, right? So step number 1 is crucial in a way that it doesn't provide any financial mean for you to purchase the house. However, it's gonna make you, if you achieve this step, you can be confident that you qualify. You're gonna be responsible for the money, because the 1,000, here's the thing, the 1,000 for some people is a lot, for some people who's not, it can be nothing, right? But if you are able to put together the 1,000, it shows the level of commitment, the high, first of all, the level of the commitment that you have with the process. And then number 2, that you have the responsibility, the responsible personnel within you. And therefore, you ready for the step number 2. So in another word, step number 1 is just to prepare for the next 6 steps. And to be able to achieve, when you achieve step number 1, you can be confident that, okay, I'm ready. I move. Remember, when the baby, right, before they learn how to run, they have to learn how to roll over. First of all, they have to know how to roll over, right? So that they can increase their muscle power. So this is exactly the rollover step from a person who doesn't have any financial obligation to a person now able to save $1,000. Okay, this also important because this creates an emergency fund for the future, for the next step. During the next step, you might have some financial problem, and you can use this as a way to avoid those emergency fund and still moving forward with your plan. Okay, now after you save 1,000 for step 1. Now, some of you may say these steps seem to be very familiar. And if you follow Dave Ramsey, this is very similar, right? But remember, we are going to walk through the 7 steps to buy your investment home, not to get rid of that, right? Dave Ramsey is still a different topic. But for those of you who are interested in buying the first investment property with 5% down in 7 steps, you are on the right webinar, okay? Step number 2, you're going to pay off the bad debt. Why? Because bad debt is the thing that reduces the ability for you to apply for the mortgage. Okay. If you are the regular people, about 80-90% of the home buyers already are gonna have to have a mortgage. Right now, a lot of people have the cash to be able to purchase 100%. So they always have to have the mortgage. Okay? When you pay off the bad debt, it creates more, it makes the ability for you to have the mortgage higher, and you can even get a higher loan amount as well. Okay. Now, what is considered as bad debt? Okay. Bad debt is something that creates the financial burden for you. For example, if you buy a car, right? And then you take on the car loan. Remember, the car value always go down, right? Unless you buy a very fancy car, unless you buy a historic car and you flip it and you increase the value, right? But in general, the car value always goes down. So, and then you take on the car loan, right? For example, 10,000, right? At the end of the day, you're actually gonna pay maybe 13,000 or 14,000 in total. So you have to pay more than what you borrow. And also, you have an asset that depreciated in value. Your car, maybe when you buy it, it's $20,000. Now it's only, after 4 or 5 years, it's only $10,000. And you have to pay $13,000 in debt, right? So that debt create a financial burden for you, and therefore it is a bad debt. Another example is a credit card, right? Credit card also have a very high interest rate, 26, 29%, or even 30% in some situation, right? And in those, if you pay 1,000, you expect, well, when you pay 1,000 for your clothes, right? If you pay cash, you only pay 1,000, of course, plus taxes and things like that. But let's not talk about that, right? 1,000 in cash for the clothes. But at the end of the day, if you pay with credit card and if you don't pay on time, you're going to be charged interest rate. So you may end up paying 101, for example, 1,001, for example. Then that extra 100 is a lot of your money. So those are considered bad debt, okay? And good debt is something that create an income asset. You buy an asset that create an income for you, that is considered a good debt. Okay, for example, similar to the car situation, right? If you buy a car just for pleasure, just for work, doing nothing to create income from that, then it is bad debt. However, there's some service that, if, for example, if you use it for Uber, if you use it for a Lyft, if you use it for a Taro, where you can rent out your car and make money from that, it's now considered good debt because it's created income from that asset, right? The house is similar situation. It's a good debt because it's create income, passive income to you, right? So step number 2, you're gonna start paying off all the debt. I already explained what is the bad debt versus the good debt, right? The reason is to help you qualify for the mortgage loan easier and smoother when you move to the next step. Okay, after you pay off all the bad debt, then you can move on to the next step, which is actually save for 5% down. So this is one of the key factor for this webinar, right? We are going to buy the first investment property with only 5% down. Okay, so after we done step number 1, save 1,000. Step number 2, pay off the bad debt. And step number 3 is to save for 5% down. Okay, so how much is 5% down, you may ask? Well, depend on your area, depend on the area that you want to invest in. This is the step that you should involve a real estate agent who familiar with investment property in the area and ask the question, hey, Long, hey, I know that you are an agent in this area and I want to buy an investment property in the area. Can you suggest me a good starting price? Okay, and and then the agent may take information. Okay, that's good that you want to start the investment property. What kind of property does you want to see? Okay, 3 bedrooms, 2 bedroom, in what area? And depend on that information, they can give you a suggested purchase price. For example, if we're talking about a 3 bedroom, 2 bedroom in Chandler, Arizona, 1 story, no HOA, for example, we're talking about $480,000 to $500,000 house in Chandler, Arizona. Okay, from that number, you can calculate what is the 5%. Okay, 500,000, 5% of 500,000 is 25,000. Right, so those are the target number that you are going to save. Now, as you see here, the step number 1, 2, and 3 is designed in a way that it starts from easy to hard and harder. Right, 1,000 is very easy, but it's a really good start. You're gonna feel very much comfortable if you are able to put together 1,000. Step number 2, you remove all the debt that you have by accumulating cash, right? Then step number 3 is 25,000 now, right? And of course, some of the area you may not have to spend to save up for the entire 25. If you're buying a house in in an area that only $200,000, then you only need 10,000, right? So depend on the area. But it's step 1, 2, and 3, easy, hard to harder. Okay, so this is important because after step number 3, you actually gonna be um, sorry, there's one more note. With the 5% down here, you only don't have to pay in contradictory with regular people thinking that you need a 20% down for your investment property home, but you only need 5%. Okay, so I know that some people may hear some information about investment property has to be 20% down. Yes and no, right? Yes, if they buy a second investment home, but this is the very first property that you buy. Okay, so you only need the 5% down. Okay, that's one thing I just want to note there. After step number 3 is actually a more fun, more productive, proactive step, which is we are going to go see buy to buy the primary home. And maybe some of you may think, why am I going to buy a primary home? Okay, because remember the note that I have in the previous slide, right? Investment home in general have to have 20% down. But if you buy a primary home, you only required to have 5% down. Okay, but don't be discouraged yet. Okay, don't be discouraged yet, because some of you may think, Long, you lied to me because you said that I can buy investment home. Now you buy a primary home. That's not true. Okay, hold on. We have 3 more steps. Okay, this is only step number 4. Okay, just be patient with me and I explain throughout the process as well. Okay, so step number 4, you buy the primary home. This is extremely important for those, especially for those who hasn't bought any property before. Okay, you know why? Because buying a house is a complicated process. Not to mention buying an investment property is even more complicated. Okay, because you're not only looking at the location, the property characteristic, the rental analysis, the finding the tenant, maintain the house. Very complicated process at the high overall, right? So I recommend the very first step is to actually buy the primary home first, to at least get familiar with the process how to buy the house. Because even in this process right here, you're gonna go through a very similar process. Okay, is to looking for the property, how to look at properties, right? How to qualify for the loan, how to inspection on the loan, and especially how the home buying process looks like. In step number 4, everything you should be covered. Everything you can cover that, minus the fact that you have to worry about the rental. Okay, because right now you're only buying the primary home, so there's one less thing that you have to worry about. That's why in step number 4, I recommend to buy the primary home. But hang tight, we're gonna move on to the next step, which gonna be even more um, exciting. Okay, but to make sure, because you are new to the process, make sure that you work with the real estate agents to guide you through the process and to avoid any mistake that like every first time home buyer make. Okay, and they can look at the inspection, they can negotiate the price for you, they can explain to you the terms of each contract, and they can go over the comps analysis with you. Those are the things that real estate agents can offer you. Okay, I do have a 90 ways that a real estate agent should serve you as a potential home buyers. If you're interested in requesting that copy, feel free to send me a text, send me an email. I'm more than happy to share that with you. Okay. All right. So after step number 4, we are done with home shopping, right? Step number 5, we're actually gonna start learning to be a landlord. By what? I just have a primary home. This is the only house that I have. I cannot rent this house. This is a primary home. Why do you say that I can practice as a landlord? By doing this, share a room. Okay, share a room, even though it is not a full rental property, but it's still, when you share a room, you still have to go through a very similar process. For example, you still have to prepare the room. or even the share area, so that you can advertise on social media, on Craigslist, on Google, right? And then when you have after you prepare, you have to screen the tenants, potential tenants, to make sure that they have good income, they have good credit, okay? And then you can move on to writing the contract. And then you can learn how to managing the tenant, how to collect the rent, how to respond to maintenance requests if the tenants have anything for you, right? So even if you share a room, you still be able to learn the entire process, and especially while you're still living in the same house. So it's more even more convenient for you to learn about that process as well. Okay, so, and the best of all, you can have extra income to pay for your mortgage. Remember, the purpose of real estate investing is to get extra income, to get passive income, right? And this is exactly the way. Even though you buy the primary home, you still be able to get income to help you pay the mortgage, and you still be able to claim the tax deduction or the tax advantage for that room when you share out that room. Okay, so overall, in step number 5 is to share room for the purpose to have additional income to pay for the mortgage. Learn about how to managing the properties. I know some of you may think, Long, I don't have to do that. I'm gonna hire a property manager when I have a rental property. Yes, if you want to do that, because I know you're working full time, you probably better to hire someone to work on it with you, to work on that for you, right? But at least learn some basic stuff so that you know enough to talk to your property managers about what is important to you when you hire them. Okay, all right. So step number 5, to share a room and then get income. Step number 6 is actually after a while, and when your value increase, your property value increase, you can go to step number 6. You can do a refinance and get the cash. Okay, get back the cash that you already invest in property number 1. Okay, in general, there's some more rule about the maximum loan to value that you can have. So in general, I would say wait for at least a year. Okay, if you check the equity of your house is more than the 5%, it's more than the loan to value requirement. When you do the refinance cash out, you can do the refinance get cash. Okay, and during that year, if you already have the tenant in place already in step number 5, right? Oh, by the way, I forget to mention, if you're not feeling comfortable with sharing a room in step 5, it is not a must. Okay, I know some of you, for security reason, for comfortable level, and you're not feeling happy, you're not feeling safe to do so, just skip step number 5 completely, but make sure that you still earn extra income somewhere else, so that you can get to step 6 and step 7 faster. Okay, step number 6, the basic idea is at the minimum, you get back the 5% that you already invest into the deal, right? As an investor, we never want to get stuck, make the investment capital stuck in one capital. We try to find a way to get that back, those capital back as soon as possible, right? So step number 6, the idea when you do refinance cash out is to get that 5% back. Remember the 25,000 back as soon as possible. To do what? To do the step number 7, to buy the second house. Okay, with that exact 5%, and of course additional saving that you have within the last year, you can actually use that money to buy the second house and rent the first property out completely. And there you go. That's how you make the first property become a fully investment properties with only 5% down. Remember, when we start with in step 4, we buy that house for only 5%. We already get all the cash out in step number 6. So we no longer have any capital stuck in property number 1. Now we are going to buy the primary home with only 5% down. Maybe sometime I have to change the name of the webinar to like buying 2 houses for only 5% down. Okay, but basically the idea is that that the property number one is now become your investment property fully. You can choose to rent out rooms. You can choose to rent the whole thing. You can choose to rent out an Airbnb as an Airbnb. So there's a lot of way for you to make money when you buy the second house, you move to the next primary home, property already. Okay, so that is the detail of the 7 steps on how to buy the investment property with only 5% down. Okay, so if you do have any question, feel free, like I said, I have my contact information below here. Feel free to give me a text, give me email, or even comment in the video below, and I will be more than happy to answer the question for you as soon as possible. Okay, I do have another webinar at the end of March. If you know anyone who is interested in selling a property in Arizona, I actually have 4 different strategies to sell a property in Arizona. No, there's only 4, actually 4, right? There's not just 1, but 4 of them. So if you know of anyone, or if you are considering selling your property, feel free to attend the webinar to know more about the way to sell the house in Arizona using the 4 strategies. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the vibrant city of Chandler, Arizona, a place where investment opportunities are as abundant as the sunshine.
Hello, I am Long Lei, your go-to realtor here in the heart of Chandler. I specialize in helping new investors to acquiring exceptional investment properties here in this dynamic city.
With a deep understanding of the local market and a passion for real estate, Long Lei is dedicated to finding the perfect investment for every client.
Whether you are investing in single-family home or multi-family units, I'm here to provide you with a personalized service that aligns with your investment goals.
Benefit from Long Lei's expertise in market trends, property valuation, and investment strategies, ensuring your journey into real estate investment is both profitable and enjoyable.
Chandler is not just a place to invest in, but it is also a community to be a part of. From its welcoming neighborhood to its thriving business landscape, there's no better place to start your investment journey. So let's embark on this exciting journey together. I am Long Lei, your local real estate expert in Chandler and Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm here to make your dream a success reality.